Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 22 of our Pure Logic playthrough of the Artisan of Glimmith. We've solved 209 puzzles so far. We're going to keep plowing through as fast as we can. Not fast as we're not speed running the game, so fast is probably the wrong word there. We could definitely solve these puzzles faster, but the goal is not to solve them fast. The goal is to solve them correctly using logic. We're doing the Mingle shape section. We are doing Mingle shapes. Two shapes, two regions that we create cannot be the same shape next to it. And we have the polyomino. Whatever this goes has to be in that shape. And this is a good place for us to start because this region cannot grow down. If it did, it would touch this region, and we know these two regions will be the same shape. So this has to grow over. That's going to be the shape. This one has the same requirement here. We cannot grow to the right, so it has to grow down. And now it can't grow to the right down here because it would enter next to that shape, so it has to grow that direction. This one cannot grow up, cannot grow left, and if it grows either right or down, it's going to be next to this one, which means these two are the same region. I just don't know which way to connect them, but they're the same. They are the same. I guess I could put a note here and just draw a line saying, hey, those are the same. All right, let's look at this guy. It can't go up. It can't go left. It can't go up. So it is going to have to go either this direction or this direction. And here's the key. If it goes this direction, this creates all kinds of problems because it can only take one of these and it can't take that one. So that is off limit. So this is going to have to go down. It can't take either of these because it's not the same region. So that is that region, which now puts this one, the answer to this, does it take that way or that way? The answer is it goes that way. And get rid of that mark. This can not go left, cannot go down. So it's going either... Okay, here's a good point. Can it go here? The answer is no, because it can't take that region. That'd be the same shape. So it's going to grow like that. This one cannot grow... Actually, this is the one to look at. This one cannot go up, left, or down. It has to go to the right. And as soon as it goes to the right, it is bordering this one, which means it has to be the same. And that is the region. All the other four shapes are forced. We can never... a two-length shape can never be subdivided because that creates two 1x1s that would be next to each other. All right. 20 of 20. We're now on 23 of 31 trying to goldify that window. All right, we've got a 1, a 2, and a corner. So let's just go around. These are givens. Let's take the gimmies, folks. We never look a gift horse in the mouth. When we see these two regions by each other, there's actually a lot of pressure here. These can't be the same region. And neither one of these can take that one. And neither one of these can take this one because then they'd be by each other. So these each have to grow one and only one space in the opposite direction, filling that in. All right, this guy either has to grow up or grow left. Can't grow right or down, but I don't know which one. Let's use some shape bank logic. What goes right here? At first glance, we say, well, it could be two things. It could be a 1 or it could be a corner, but could this actually be a 1? What goes here then? That's a contradiction. That cannot be a 1, which means this is a corner. And as soon as this is a corner, it's going to have to grow out. And then we still have to figure out what goes in here. It's not a 2 length and it's not a 1. So this is going to go up like that. So what's going to go here? Because it has to be one of these three shapes. It's not the 2. It's not the corner. So this is a 1. What goes here? Well, this is going to be a corner. Because we are next to a 1 and we're next to a 2. This is a corner, so it has to be that shape. So we'll take that. What goes here? Knowing that our shape bank, this has to come out because it can't be a 1. As soon as it's a corner, because that's what this says it is, it's going to have to come down. This corner cannot go up or left, so it's going to have to go right or down. So it could be something like this. It could be something like that. Or it could be something like that. What about this right here? Could this be a corner? That's the question. It's not a 1. It's either a 2 or a corner. The question is it a corner? Well, if it's a corner, it can't go that way because that'll be next to a corner. So it would have to come down. And that looks okay until you look right here. And that's going to create a contradiction. So this is not a corner. It is a 1x2. So the question is it a 1x2 like that? Same problem. What goes here? This can't be a 1x1. So this is a 1x2. It grows that direction. So what goes right here? Not a 1, not a 2, not a 1. It does a corner. Could it be this corner? If it goes this direction, it has to be. But then what goes here? I can't make this a 2 and I can't make it a 1. So this can't grow that direction. It does grow this direction. It's not this shape here, so we know it doesn't go there, and this comes down. So we're good with that. This now is really super duper constrained because it's a corner and we can't go up, we can't go down. So we have to come out, and it does have to be a corner. So let's finish that out. What goes right here? This could be a 1 or it could be a 2. What goes here? This is a 2 for sure. But it could be a 2 this way or a 2 this way. What about that right there? This is a better spot. It's not a 1. It's not a corner, so it's a 2. What about this? It's not a 1. It's not a 2, so it's a corner. That's the shape of the corner. What about this one? It's not a 1. It's not a corner, so it is a 2. This one could be a 1. It could be a 2. So let's look at this J all together here, because I think we're going to do some odd even math. And here's the first question. Can I put any corners in this section at all? And the answer is no, because these 2 corners touch everything except these 2 cells. But as soon as you try to grab, you touch one of these. So this is just 1s and 2s alternating in some form or fashion. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total, which means we have to have an even number of 1 squares. So it's going to either be like that or like that. Let's look at that again. Like that. That's, oh, here's these one. Forget all that. This is a 2. Can this grow down? No, it has to grow up. So what is this? It's not a corner. It's a 1. That's a 2. All right. Sometimes we make things more complicated than they need to be. My apologies, folks. All right, 1, 2, and corner. Let's start with the simple. Get that in there. We still have mingles. We can't put stuff next to each other. We have the polyomino. All right, so what is this? This does have to grow. This does have to grow. As soon as this grows, that does take this. This has to go left or right. Can it grow right? Nope, because it'll take there, so it goes left. That's done. What about this? This has to take at least this cell. If it grows, it's a 2, which would put it next to each other, so it can't grow. So this one is a 2, but it can't go that direction. It has to go up. What's right here? Not a 2, not a 1. So this is a corner. What goes right here? This could be a corner, or it could be a 1. You think it could be a 1, but then what goes here? Can't be a corner, and it can't be a 2. So this is a corner. This is a 1 or a 2. I don't know. This could be a 1, or it could be a corner. Oh no, it can't be a corner. Let's look at this guy. This is a corner, but it can't grow left or down. It has to go up, and it can't go to the left up. So that is going that direction. So that is a 1. This cannot be a 1 or a corner, so that is a 2. And now we're looking at an odd number here. So we only put 1 in there, and that is where the 1 has to go. That's where the 2's go. All right, we're mingling. We've got, we can do lots of shapes, but here's what we can say for sure. This is not a 2, because that would mess up. If this were a 2, that's a 1. And then this would have to be a 2, and that's a 1. Are there, these are closer here. This one cannot grow left or down. So it's either going to the right or up. That seems problematic. This is very problematic. If this grows up, and this is a 1x2, what in the world goes in here? I can put a 1x1 here, a 1, but what goes there? I can't be a 1 or a 2. Yeah, and I can't put a 2. So this can't go up. So this can't go up. It can't go left. It can't go down. This goes like that. And now this can't go up. This can't go right. So what goes in here? If it's a 1, that's a problem because there's nothing I can put up there. So this has to take all of that. This, if this came out, if these were connected, this could not go down. It would have to come up. And then these would both come out. This would come down. That's all okay. If this comes up, this is a 1, this is a 1, and that comes out. So here's, I guess, the question. Can this ever come down? I don't think so. How could this come down? What goes here? It can't be a 1 because then I need a 1 there. If I do like this, it's a 2. I can't make it a corner. Yeah, this can't go down. This is forced, which means this one can't go up. This could be a 1, you think, until you figure out what goes here. I can't put a 2 here because it'd break that. So this has to grow and it can't be a 2. So this is a corner. This cannot go to the right. It has to go down. This can't go left or up. I probably should just start drawing these things. This can't go up, but this has to go that way. This one is either going up or to the right. This can't go this direction. Whichever way this goes, it blocks this one. So this comes down, which means this is done. This comes out. This has to go up. This has to come over. And now we're just down to this little section here. If this did not take this direction, if this goes up, how do I fill this out? I can't. This has to come over and everything else is forced. All right, we'll hold off on the 5. We'll come do some of the simpler ones. All right, we got corners and we got pluses, or the X pentomino. Those are our 2 shapes, and we have to alternate them. So that's a really good question. The corners like this are really hard for the X. That is going to have to be a corner. More than that, it cannot be a corner that does this, because that is a dead end, which means it has to take this and it has to take that. This now has to be the plus, which means this has to be a corner. This has to be a plus. This has to be a corner. This has to be a plus, or X corner. This is a corner, but it can't touch this one. So we have a plus. There we go. That's just a nice, once you get the break in, it solves itself. All right, we got L and an S tetromino. No mingling. No mingling, folks. All right, what is this? This has to come out. and it can't be an S shape. So it is an L of some kind. So it's going to grow like this or like that. But it's an L. This also has to come up. Cannot take this, become an S. So it's either an L like that, but what in the world do you put up there? That doesn't work. So we have to make that the L. So this will now have to be the S. This could be an L, just like that. But this also could be an S. There's nothing that says one way or the other on that. This comes out. This is an L here. So if this were to try to be an L, it would have to do that because it can't come down to this L. Like those would collapse. We've already identified this is not an S. So this is an S, which means this is an L. It has to be that L. So that's S. This is an L. This is looking like it has to go there. Also need an L on this side. So here's an interesting point when we have something like this. Could we ever have something like this, where the long side of the L is longer than the S? And the answer is no, because what happens here? It can't be an S or an L. So because we only have two choices, this has to be an L, but this cannot. Both of these have to be L. They have to be the same shape, but they cannot be. This has to be the short end. This can't grow like that because that creates orphan cells. So the L is like that. This will have to be part of an S, which means this is part of the L. This is now S, and there's the puzzle. All right, what are you hiding back here? Yeah, I found it. Okay, that's a 5. Are we down to 5s? Have we got all the... What's this one back here? Let's do a 4 first. All right, we got T's, P's, and whatever. That's bigger than... That's a hexagonal. So I don't know what that shape's called. But we need one down here. Oh. I want my colors. All right, this P, how does it grow? Could it grow like that? That blocks this one. It can't, I mean, the P cannot go into here. Can the P not take this one? Well, if the P, no matter what side the P is, if this is the square, that's a problem. And if I grow up here to make it, neither of these can take, I have to take, this has to take, which means this has to expand. It can't go that way, so it has to go this way. So this is forced. The P here has to take that, but I don't know where. Well, okay, hold on. It's a shape bank. I can't leave orphans like that. This is going to have to take that. That has to take that. All right. This is a P, but it can't take this one. So what is this? This is going to be a T. So it's going to take that. This T could do something like this and leave it open. I mean, it has to take these. No, it doesn't have to. It could take this. But what goes in here? That doesn't work. Nothing can fit in there. Going this direction doesn't help because that creates dead space. So this does have to grow up. This has to go like that. And then that has to take that space, or this has to be a P. No, it can't be a P. So it has to be the other one. This has to be a P right here. Because if this is a T, then that's a problem. So this is a P right here, and that's going to have to take that piece. This is one of these shapes, because it can't be a T or a P, and so we have to force that in there. This is a P. That's forced. This is not a T, so it is a P. And it has to, oh, it can't be a P that way. Let's look at this logically again. This cannot be a T, because it'll force that it's going to problem there. So if this can't be a T, this does have to be a P, and it can't be this is the end of the P, because that creates an OR. So this has to be the bottom part. But if I do that, then this either has to grow this way, that orphans, or this way, and that creates. So this has to grow that way. This now cannot be a P or a T, so it is a stair step. This has to be a T, and it can't grow that direction, so it has to grow this direction. This guy cannot grow that direction. It's going to have to grow this direction. This has to be a T. So we'll do that. Right here, we're going to need a P. This one, ooh, we got a problem here. This can't grow like that. This is a P, but this right here has to also be a P. The P has to come in there. This could be a T, or it could be a stair step. Stair step puts a P in there, which works. Why can't this be a T? Well, the shapes don't match. There's no shape that can go in here. Is there a better way to see this? This has to be connected to a P, or this cannot be. This could be a T, but then that's export. So this is has to take that. So that's a P, and it's either going to grow that way and create a mismatched shape, or it grows this way and that fits. Why are these puzzles part of the same? Oh, this is a different. No, go back. I don't want these puzzles. I don't know how I ended up over there. Did I grab a puzzle from the wrong spot? Okay. 2s, 3s, and squares. So 2, 3. So this could be like a 3 and a 2. It doesn't have to be a square in there, but this has to be a 2. This could be a square in there. Nothing says it has to be one way or the other. Well, it kind of does, though. So let's say this. So this right here, this either is a square or it's a 3. If it was a square, or if it was a 3, it would have to be like this. But then what goes here? Well, you say a 2. Okay, that's fine. What goes here? We got a problem. This can't be a 2, it can't be a 3, and it can't be a square. All that to say, this can't be a 3. This is a square. What can this be? It's not a 2. It's not a square. So it is a 3. But I don't know if it's a 3 going that way or a 3 this way. Well, I do know it's not a 3 this way. So what is this? It's not a 2. I mean, it's not a 3 and it's not a square. So it is a 2. Could it be a 2 like that? No, because what goes here? Nothing. What is this? Not a 2, not a 3. So it is a square. This is at least a 2, but it could be a 3. We don't know. So we're not going to mark that in. What is this? It's not a 3, it's not a square, so it's a 2. So we do that. That doesn't work. What goes here? Nothing. Can't put a 2 there, can't put a 3 there, so this does have to grow up. This could be a 3, or this could be a 3. That seems more likely. So why is this not a 3? That would force this to be a 2. That doesn't just flat out break immediately. It breaks down here. It's a little harder to see. This is not a 2, is not a 3. This is a square. This is not a 2, this is not a square, it is a 3. This is a 2 that grows either like this or like this. That seems more logical. Let's look right here. That has to be a 3 because it's already next to a 2, it's already next to a square. But can it go up? The answer is no. Because what happens to this? This can't be part of this one, and if this grew, we'd collapse. So this is a 3, but it grows this direction. Which comes back here. What is this? Well, this is a 2. But we already know this is a 2, so that forces that. What is this? It's not a 2, it's not a 3, it's a square. Let's go back to this one. This is a lot more constrained now. What is this a part of? Can it grow out? And the answer is no, it can't be a 3 because then that would grow. So it is part of this one. This is either a square or a 2. Either way, it's going to take these two. I just don't know if it keeps growing. What about this right here? This is not a 3. It's not a square, so it's a 2, but it can't. Well, it could. It could. On first blush, you could do this, but then what would have to go here? This would have to be a 3. And then what goes here? It can't be a 2, it can't be a 3, and it can't be a square. So this is a 2, but it grows like that. What is this? This is, if this is a 3, it grows like that, and it intersects. So, and it's not a 2, so this is a square. This is not a square. It is not a 3, so it is a 2, which means that one that we looked at before was the square. All right, we're pretty close here, folks. I think we will finish it out with this puzzle right here. This is a level 5 difficulty. We may go over time just a little bit, but we're going to finish out this Mingle shape on this video. Mingle and polyomino. So let's go around, and everywhere we got our 1x1s, little onesies. Let's get those filled in because those are gimmies, and we take our gimmies. We've got a lot of Z pentominos, or the Z for the British persuasion. Some of these have to go together. Some of these are separate. We'll have to parse through that. Where is our breakthrough? We've got a zigzag here, and we got a W here. This seems very difficult to fit in. With the, I got another one up here. All right, so let's look at this corner real quick. It's not a 1. It's not a 2, right? Because this is a 2. So it has to keep growing. It's not a corner. Has to keep growing. It's not an S. It has to keep growing. But it's not a W. It's not this W. It has to keep growing. And it can't be that shape. It's not the same one as this shape. It has to keep growing, and we're out to here. Like, that's pretty funny. And it could keep growing, but it's at least to there. So this is a 2. This is an S, does not grow that way. This guy, I mean, that is really, really forced into here. It can't grow that direction. So it is going to have to grow that direction like this. Oh, I messed it up. I went too far. So it could be like this. I just don't know if it takes that one or not, but it takes all of these. It takes this W, and then it has to grow one more. This has to grow. It is a corner. That comes down. Okay. Wait, hold on. Bad logic, because this could grow up. We can't count that off. And then that's there. All right, let's do some similar logic here. This has to come out. It can't go up like this and stop because of like this. It could do this though. It could. It would just force this one to have to grow like that or like this. But this does come out. What about this? This has to come out. This has to come out. This is not this shape. So it has to keep growing. It's not this shape. It has to keep growing. So we've turned it into an F. This has to come up. It has connected. That's go. This one could keep growing though. We're not done with our. It could be it could be an F. It could be bigger than an F. What about this guy? It cannot grow in now. It has to grow out. It could go either direction, but what we do know is that it doesn't take this, and this is now going to have to take that. That is forced. Okay, this cannot, something has to go here, and it's not this. This has to grow. It's not that. It has to grow. It's not this. Has to grow. So we're at least to an S. Oh, hold on. These could connect. These could connect. But these do not connect. This is fun. This is a blast. All right, what goes here? This has to grow somehow. It could grow like this. I see no problem with that. Or it could do something crazy like that. And this be something, I don't see a problem with that either. Let's look at this guy. So it's a 4, length 4. Cannot go horizontally because that'll run into it. So it is vertical and it cannot go past here. So it's going to have to take at least this much. At least this much. At most, it goes to here. That's a problem because what in the world is the T doing? The T needs at least this. So this can't grow that far. So we have to take at least this one, right? Does that make sense? Like this cannot be the shape. So at a minimum, it's going to have to go into that cell right there. I want purple. I like that being purple. No, that's a purple at least. All right. This has to grow. We don't know if these connect though. These could connect. This, well, let's look back up here. This has to grow. And it is either part of this or, okay, if it's not, then if this is not this shape, what does this one do? It grows, it can't. Like, no. This is part of that shape. I just don't know if it grows here or here. This guy could just be something like that, and that grows in there. Can't go that direction. We could do that, and that puts more space in there. I don't see a problem with that either. This is a 3. Can't go down, so we can at least do that. This 3 has to go down at least a little bit. This is not the same as that one. Neither one. So this has to go down. This has to go up. Both of those are finished. This cannot be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. But it could be one of these. And it has to, because it can't be a 5. Then it would have to grow like, I mean, you have to do something like that. That's weird. So if these are, so this is either we take one of those or not. But let's leave that. That probably connects to one of these. I don't know. But this comes up. This looks like it's going to be a square. This comes down. This comes down. This could be a 1, not a 2. It could be a 3. It could be an L. What is this? Not a 1, not a 2. So it's either a corner, like that, and we make that a 1, or it's a square. And I think we'll determine it based on what this does. This F is, this can't be the F. So this has to come up. I mean, this is forced. That's the F. So this has to come in. So now as soon as this comes in, this shape is forced, and that's that. All right. Don't know what this is. This could come. Okay, hold on. Could this? Oh. Hold on. Could this actually connect to here or to here? The answer is no, because then this shape would be next to it. So this cannot be either one. This has to grow. This is not either of these shapes. So this guy has to come out. It's going to be at least to there, which means this is going to have to take all of that. This takes that. This grows. This is 5 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an L that takes something like this. Well, wait a second. What goes here? Oh, wait. This is... Oh, wait. This is a 5, but it's not. This can't be a 5. Hold on. This has to grow. This has to be a 5. This has to keep growing because it cannot be an L. This grows like that. Okay. I almost bundled that. But that's, I hope, do I need to back up and redo that logic? I mean, this is the forcing of it. Let me back this up because I think I forced that a little bit too fast, and maybe I want to make sure that we're seeing this logic cleanly from here. All right, when we were right here, we determined this cannot take this one or this one because it breaks that, which means it has to extend. But now this is 1 by 5 and it can't take this one. So this is going to have to extend. It's not the same as this one. This is not a dead end and it is not a part of this one. This now has to, we have to get this shape. So it's going to have to grow and it either has to go up or down. We'll figure that out in just a second. But this guy now is super constrained. We have to do that. This is constrained, this and this. This one to complete is there. This needs to be a 1 by 5 there. Now, this cannot be a 1 by 5. It has to keep growing. So it goes to at least here. But that means that this super long L, this is not the L piece. It has to extend. And the L piece is down here. This can't be a 1 by 1. So this has to extend. And that's how that goes. So I saw the logic while I was doing it, but I wasn't articulating it. And I did have a bad step in there. And so I wanted to make sure that we were fully clear on how that works. All right, this has to be part of a region. It's not a 1. It's not a 2. It goes in there. That's the region. This is the 2. This can't go up. So that's the 2. Why did we? Yep, this goes down. This region has to come down. This region may not be done, but this is not a 1. So this has to come up. This is a 1. All right. We do need this to get a shape in here, so we could still do something like this. No. What goes here? This shape has to grow, and it's either a part of the T. If it's not part of the T, then it's a 1x2, and then the T's like this, and this is a 1x1. That's not immediately a problem. If it's a T, this could be a corner, this could be a Z. That's not immediately a problem. So I don't know if that's really the next place to look. Let's go look up here. We need a corner. Could I do something like that? I think I could. I can just do a 3 length in here. Don't see a problem with that. Could I do something like this? Don't see a problem with that. I could do a 3 length or a 4 length. No issues. So don't see any. What we know is it's not that. That's a problem. So this is not part of that shape. But this could grow that direction, that direction. In fact, it doesn't have to, it could go like this. And that could be an L. That would work. So I think we're stuck with parsing through the Z's here. We got to parse the Z's. And if they touch, they have to be in the same region. So we can start with that. This cannot be part of that region. So it cannot go up. Cannot go, it's not part of this region. Can't go in that region. So this is forced like that. This guy, very constrained as well. Cannot be, it's not part of the orange. Not part of the green. Can't grow. So this has to grow out like this. That's done. This guy cannot, it's not part of the orange, cannot go that direction, cannot go down. So it is now, it could go up, but that would force this part to go down. Either way, this is the long length. This is the long leg. This can't go down, so that is the shape. This corner, we don't know if it takes that one. Well, here's what we know: it doesn't go there. We know it doesn't go there, so it goes there. That's a different shape. These are all forced. This is the same shape. There's no way to get them in there any other way. Those go, those go, those go. All right. So now we're left with just this last forced piece. Here's the question. Can this go like this? Absolutely not. It takes that one. So this one cannot take that square. So it has to take this square. That forces the T. And there is the level difficulty 5. What a beautiful puzzle. What a beautiful puzzle. We get the gold for the Mingle shape, and that we will stop on that one. There might be a couple puzzles here that are left hiding around. But I think we will be moving on to our next region here, which will be combining. Looks like it'll be combining so far. So anyways, folks, I'm sorry for a little bit longer, but I did want to finish that section out on a high note. Get the gold mirror, and so we can start fresh on the next one. Thanks so much for the support. Like, subscribe. See you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.